All right, welcome to the Sunday Wire, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to be here with you. I'm your guest host, Bryan McClain, and I'll be running the show here in Patrick's absence while he's out doing some journalism, some much needed journalism. Now, we do have a video interview that Patrick Henningsen did with Freddy Ponton of 21st Century Wire, which we'll watch together in the first segment of the show. And in the Overdrive segment, we'll be joined by Ruckus and Basil Valentine. We've got a number of things to talk about. So it's going to be a great show today, and we're really happy you're here with us. I want to point you to the 21st Century Wire website. We've got a Sunday screening up there this week. You'll definitely want to check it out. The true story of Israel's creation, debunking Israel's foundational lies from their leaders' mouths. So this is another one of those videos that, a lot of people don't want you to see, but our team here at 21stcenturywire.com curates these kind of things and features them on the website every Sunday as a bit of a companion piece to go along with the Sunday Wire broadcast. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. Go ahead and bookmark it. I'll flash it on the screen for you so you can see it if you're new around here. Perhaps you've not been to the website yet. So definitely head on over to 21stcenturywire.com. That is the website right there. And here is your video this week, your documentary curated just for you right here at the Sunday Wire and 21st Century Wire. Now, where are we at this week? Well, if you're feeling anything like I am, you're noticing that we're living through a period where perception management has almost become inseparable from geopolitics itself. Now, that may not apply to you and me, but we are definitely seeing people struggling with this. Wars, right? Wars. How many wars do we have going right now? How much torture is going on right now as we speak? Wars, they're not just fought with missiles, sanctions, intelligence operations, but now we have to add these layers, right? Algorithms, media ecosystems, echo chambers, artificial intelligence, and emotionally engineered narratives to shape public consciousness in real time. Governments are struggling to maintain legitimacy, believe it or not. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. Media institutions openly curating reality, right? In radio air quotes for my podcast listeners. And populations increasingly find themselves, and this is the worst part, the people find themselves trapped between distrust, confusion, and exhaustion. So here we are. Here we find ourselves. We look around, we see the exhausted people, the confused people, the distrustful people. And I think what I just laid out right there really kind of explains that dissonance. But you know this, you're experiencing it in your life too, probably. So, media narratives. Here's a narrative driven thing right now. Thomas Massey, right? Thomas Massey. What does the dinosaur media tell you about them? What does the mass media cartel tell you about Thomas Massey? He's not MAGA. He's bad, shady stuff. He's out, right? President Trump doesn't support him. Doesn't like him. Not anymore. Oh, that's the reason? Well, there's your narrative shaping, but in reality, he was taken out by a clownish candidate, a candidate with a bigger war chest than probably any congressional campaign war chest in history. And why? Well, is Thomas Massey really that bad? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that he was one of the loudest voices when it came to, hey, we need to get these Epstein files out. This needs to be adjudicated and made right and made public. Well, maybe that's why. Maybe that's the narrative that's being managed. Oh my gosh. Here's another one. Here's another narrative shaper. If you're a regular here at Sunday Wire, you know that we have been covering the global Salmud flotillas that have been going to Gaza. Batches of boats, batches of humanitarians, batches of activists, all kinds of people from all over the world trying to get food and aid and medicine into Gaza. Would it be enough food or aid or medicine? Probably not. But it sure would mean a lot to the people that are watching what's happening to know that peaceful activists are going to deliver food, water, and medicine. Certainly, the government of Israel is not allowing those things into Gaza. And we've covered the piracy in international waters that the flotilla has experienced. We've covered the kidnapping of those people by the IDF. We've interviewed some of those people. We have colleagues on those boats. And what is the main narrative? First off, it's not even included in the mass media narrative. And if it is, it's a side note. So it's just not there, right? One of my least favorite type of psyops is lies by omission. And we sure get a lot of that with what's going on in the Middle East, don't we? But when they do talk about it, or if you do go to X, if you're following the Global Samud Flotilla, you'll see Israeli posts in there stacked up, accusing these people of being quote unquote jihadist sympathizers. Now, there you go. Narrative shaping, consciousness management in real time, right? But the reality of the situation is worth understanding. It's worth knowing. The experiences of those people are shocking. The way they're treated when piracy happens and the kidnapping happens is insane. I know a lot of people watching this show know exactly what I'm talking about, but I also know that some of you, especially those of you with, gentle hearts, have a hard time watching things like torture and hearing accounts of sexual abuse and harassment. But these are the stories that are coming out. These are the stories that we're hearing from these people. And today, this weekend, yesterday, today, a lot of people are returning home from the last trip and their stories are starting to circulate. And some of them, man, this was not a fun show prep for me because I spent a lot of time on the Global Flotilla X page. I watched everything on there. I recommend you do the same. It's unpleasant, but there is hope there. It's hard to hear someone's tale of abuse, particularly when it's a woman telling a tale of sexual harassment and abuse. But man, some of the stories I put into my eyeballs and ears this morning were a lot. They were a lot. But on the other hand, there are people at airports today, supporters of these people, in the airports and places like that where they're coming home. People are returning to South Africa, they're returning to Canada, they're returning to the US, they're returning to Europe. There's a lot of stories going around right now, and I certainly don't want to miss out on understanding the latest on this story, and I'm guessing you don't want to miss out either if you're here with us live today for this Sunday Wire. So we're going to talk about that with Basil Valentine. We're going to talk about that with Ruckus, and anything else. Everything's on the board. I'm not looking at comments just yet, but I see you guys piling into the comments over there. Thank you so much for being here today for Sunday Wire. We're broadcasting live on X. We're broadcasting live on YouTube, on BitChute, on Rumble, on Facebook. We got the multi-stream going out right now, so be sure and follow 21st Century Wire or 21 Wire on all those platforms. Did I say X? Also X. So please get out there and follow, subscribe, hit the like button. That really helps. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, go ahead and punch it right in the square. And hit the notification bell too, because sometimes we're finding that people get unsubscribed or their notifications are not coming in, or they don't come in if they don't hit the notification thingy. So all that stuff helps us out. And here, let's get to Patrick Henningsen and Freddy Ponton. I'm pretty excited about this particular clip because Freddy has not been here with us on the Sunday Wire in a bit. So I think we're going to get an update from Freddy here. We're going to hear what he's been up to. Patrick talks to him about, his role here at 21st Century Wire and on Sunday Wire. So here you go. This is recorded in France, I believe. And here you go.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a moment, huh?
It's been a long journey. Filled of stories.
A lot of stories. A lot of stories. So your role at 21st Century Wire has changed a lot in the last 6 months. You used to, do a lot more. You used to do a lot more on-camera analysis. You're always doing research, always. But you now in the last 6 months, you have really focused down on written research articles, backed up with tons of receipts, and it's making a big impact. I think it seems to be. The traction's increasing. I see a lot of people copying, not copying our stories, but we're the first, and then people are riffing off it. So I think that's a big compliment to what you're doing.
Yes, it is. It's a choice, as you just said. It's to decide where you want to allocate your time and towards what goal. I think it's the censorship probably on social media and so many other platforms was probably what pushed me towards creating something that is going to be everlasting, if you will, so that you cannot censor. It's going to be printed, it's going to be recorded, and the words don't disappear. And I don't depend on, platform, Twitter, Instagrams, or whatever to make these words stick. They'll be there, and those that are interested in the topics that we cover at the 21st Century Wires are very fresh topics. And I think that because the way we're getting our news, the way we're getting this information, often we can see that the journalism that goes behind it doesn't have the time or the amount of time or perhaps even the resources from an independent journalism point of view to allocate enough time, resources to get really a really good work, a really good research. And my background is research. That's what I like to do.
You've done some long-term projects, like the Nord Stream investigation. That's a long.
And it's still ongoing.
It's ongoing. It never ends. It's a long-term. One Health, and the sort of globalization and weaponization of after the COVID and the vaccines. You were the first to expose the One Health agenda, which is now a mainstream story.
Absolutely.
After 3 years.
After 3 years, and it's still there and very much alive, because it takes time for these kind of stories to come out and for people to actually grasp what it actually means, what it means for you as a family, what it means for you as an individual, and what it means as a society, and also for the government, where the government is going with this. Does it actually suit the interest of the many? Is it what we really want, or are we just being thrown into something that is so complex that we're starting to be told story? And this particular One Health element and concept really, is it really based in science? That's the question we must ask ourselves. Or is it been developed to take care of an industry that lives around the very idea that everything is connected, whether the virus moved from the animal world to the man's world, and how environments and these kind of propagations of so-called virus are all connected and related, and we are basically, the human race is to be blamed, if you will, for everything that happened. That is how the nature is punishing you for that. And that is the narrative that has been put. But my question is just when we look at the patterns, the people that are associated around this, whether it's in France, whether it's around the world, the word one is used on so many different levels. One Health is for this, but the health industry and all that, but we get so many one things.
It's identical.
It's identical
across the governments.
And that's what I'm seeing. That pattern of one things, one security, one health, one. It's not a coincidence. There's a pattern there if you care to look at it and understand it. And I think that's why the One Health was very successful, because it's unusual, and the conclusion where this program, this concept, this ideology is been rooted is questionable at best. There's a lot of things that we need answers, and we're not getting these answers. And the COVID was the first answer as to that. And then now we have another.
It's the revelation
concept.
How do you say in French? The revelation of the method.
The revelation of the method.
Do you have the same saying?
Yeah,
in France?
la révélation de la méthode. It's a construct, It's the thing is that when you're researchers, you're looking for pattern and you're looking for things that fits in. You're not trying to fit it in so that it fits your narrative. You're trying to look at it, bring it back together, and see if there is an image that comes out, if there is a method, if there is a pattern, if there's a construct that's telling you a story, and then you decipher the story. And that's what I like to do, is that it doesn't matter what I believe in. My opinion in that sense is secondary. What matters is what the data is telling me, and how much of this data I can put together and identify and then solidify and then analyze and say, okay, this is what the data is showing. And you don't need to be a scientist, a PhD to do that. You just need to have common sense. That's, I think, the first thing you do. And then, of course, if you read a lot and if you're interested in geopolitics and societies and things that influence the world, the world we're living in, I'm interested in my fellow human beings. I'm interested about what you guys are going through in the United States and what we are going through in Europe. And is there that much difference? Because we're getting a lot of narrative from our governments. We're getting a lot of narrative, out of our institutions. But I'm not interested much in what they have to say. What I'm interested in is at the end of the lens, this is us. This is us as society, as the civilizations. Are we accepting what we've been told, or do we owe it to ourselves to find the truth? Because we are not given the truth. I think it's quite been obvious now that something is wrong, that anything that has been pushed onto us is not based in truth. But we're not going to get it from our mainstream media, and we're barely going to get it from many independent media, which are politicized again. So we are.
A lot of it has become politicized.
It has become politicized, and that's the problem, because this is not what journalism is about. You want to do politics, stay in politics, But if you want to do journalism, I think it's important we stick to the data, to the facts, and making sure that people understand that not every independent media is about facts. They'll give you a bit of facts to get you in, making you feel like this is genuine, we really care about that. But then when you scratch a little bit the surface, you realize that there is a political agenda, and that belongs in a different environment, in a different setting. Right? The journalism, the setting is very simple. Get the facts, look at them, and tell the people what the truth is about it, and bring the receipts. Make sure that, and that's one thing we've achieved over the years at the 21st Century Warriors is no one has ever come back to us to tell us that what we are saying is not, sealed in truth. We have no complaint. Nobody has ever come. Why? Because we're bringing the receipts. And I think that's where the value is for anyone that has been supporting us over the years, that has been behind you, that strong audience that is, keep on coming back because they know we uncompromising about what we are saying. And there are very few out there. And those that are good, they've been consistent. And that's probably what I'd say to the audience and to anyone that has been pushing us is that you look for that consistency. That it never gets too politicized, but it's going to tell you this is what's happening. Is it right or is it wrong? And then you make the decision for yourself. What's right for you. But at least you can make that judgment based on fact. Yeah. So the older story, to go back to your question, is all the story we drive is to say, look what's happening here in France. Look what's happening out there in Iran or in the Middle East. Look what's happening back home in the U.S. for you guys. What does that mean? You've been told something. Can you interpret it? Can you have and put a story to what you're experimenting? When you go into the pump, when you want to support a candidate, but a foreign powers can come and say, no, your candidate doesn't matter. We have foreign interest there, and we can impose a candidate for you, and we can make it win. All that is telling you something. And then when you put it all together, you realize that everything is connected. And I think that's any investigator, any researcher like that connection, finding connections. And we realize that all our stories have a common thread, and a thread of a group of very powerful people that seems to be interested in keeping that power amongst themselves and losing control to some degree, and understanding that technology, AI, all that surveillance apparatus, through currency, through, you name it. These people are interested in keeping control, and they want you to support their ideas, making you feel that this is your idea and this is good for you. Well, that's where you need to be able to read and to have stories that's going to tell you and show you that perhaps this is not in your best interest, and you should just reevaluate what was true maybe 20 years ago for you might not be true today, because things have changed, and they've changed rapidly. And we need to adapt, And it doesn't matter which generation you are, If you are the product, this is not good. You're Gen Z, you're a product today. People are paying a lot of money, spending billions, trying to basically tell you what you need to think and where you need to go. That's what they do. And they'll do it through faith, they'll do it through money, they'll do it through show and identity crisis or whatever. They'll just manipulate you just to get you where they need you to be. And I'm glad to see that, especially in the US, that the Generation Z is just so awakened, compared to how we were. We were asleep at your age, so you guys are doing pretty good, and you want to keep it that way.
Yeah, and just a technical point of order. Move your microphone to this side, to your right chest. I just switched mine. I just noticed because we're looking at each other. The mic's away from our direction, but if you can reposition that'd be amazing. A little bit of a live technical.
Live technical, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Cool.
well, I'm amazed by this technology, to be honest with you. It's just so impressive. I think we're good now?
Yeah, you go.
Let's see.
Straighten up there. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
So the rally. We covered the Palestinian Nakba commemoration in London, and then the Tommy Robinson far right the same day. And the average age at the far right rally, they're all boomers. Most of them are boomers. It's just all salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Most people are over the age of 50, and I'm just like, luckily not that many young people. And you can see anyway, you're right about the generational thing. But quick, in this interest of time, I know we don't have a whole lot of time because it would be a brief segment. I'm with Freddy Ponton. For those of you who don't know Freddy, Freddy is investigative journalist. As mentioned, he's a researcher. He's been writing and reporting and doing analysis with us at 21st Century Wire for a few years now, and he's done some incredible work on so many important stories, groundbreaking stories. And in what you were saying about the issues that are affecting, America and also here, Thomas Massie recently lost his House seat, congressional seat, because the Israel lobby decided he's gone. And the Epstein class, they went after him, and they managed to dislodge him from office. So that's foreign election meddling.
Premeditated.
Foreign election interference.
Foreign election interference.
Very well financed,
Yeah.
incredibly sophisticated. Okay, it's not just a problem in America.
No.
This is a problem in France. So one of the stories that you did recently, which got a lot of interest, is the Black Corps.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Corps story. So I know there's a lot going on around this part of France, in Marseille. And lo and behold, you had an election interference story in your neighborhood, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of insane.
It is crazy.
Just tell us about this, because I thought, wow, we're at the next level now.
Yes, it is, and it's very worrying that we're not talking about presidential elections here. We're talking about local elections.
What is Black Corps?
And Black Corps is a law firm based out of Israel that seems to have been identified.
They're more than a law firm. They're kind of a consultancy.
Well, they do a lot of consultancy, but they're attached to a law firm. And what we are saying in
information wars,
information warfare, and it's really about targeting campaign against candidate, especially targeted against any left candidates that will have a kind of a stance on the Palestinian file, if you will, on the war on Palestine and the genocide and all that kind of thing. So any candidate that has kind of raised its voice in France has been kind of targeted in the regional elections. And what happened is an investigation was conducted, and then eventually they realized that it was not just a kind of a small attempt to intimidate or trying to kind of influence people, to trying to say, well, those that are supporting the Palestinian, fight for freedom, the resistance, what people describe as resistance here in France, has been targeted. And to target the people that support Palestine here in France, they are targeting the politicians that are supporting the resistance,
so
basically.
would they be Jean-Luc Mélenchon's party?
Yeah, these are people that falls down under Mélenchon, LFI, the left in
LFI,
general. Yeah.
How do you say?
La France Insoumise.
Insoumise.
Yes, so La France Insoumise was pretty much the target. I mean, they're getting stronger.
Local elections, though, that's the thing that this story is crazy. We're not talking about the national election. They're going after local councillors' elections. That's like, pardon me for the metaphor, that's the DNA of the political machinery in the country, isn't it? That's the basis of everything, right? The local seats, local government, local elections.
This is not an accident, the way it was done, and if really when you start to dig into the investigation, you realize that this was deliberate, that it's less obvious, if you're gonna target and do this kind of attack, very targeted attack on politicians, it's less obvious because there's less.
What kind of attacks?
Well, the attacks are cyber attacks. We're talking about a complete setup. Hello, darling. You okay? On est en caméra. On est en train de faire un film. Sorry, guys. People talk to each other in where I live, so it's still nice. So basically what was very interesting is that you have a deliberate attack on social media platforms, news, and the entire network that was built around the Black Corps story is clearly aimed at regional targets, regional elections, and that's really for me new in France, because normally they're going to want to do that during the big elections for presidential elections, or things that have a national reach. But I think because it's been watched quite extensively in France, all that kind of influence. Meddling and peddling with Israel and other countries like
and they would do things like using AI agents. And they would buy billboard space all anonymously using crypto payments.
That's great.
And then putting a QR code in the local neighborhood where someone would scan it and would go immediately to some defamatory video using AI, fake profiles, avatars. I mean, this is very sophisticated.
This is sophisticated.
But it's very low cost if you have the tool chain, they call it, right?
It's surgical.
The black core tool chain.
Yeah, it's
which was
the tool chain. It is a tool chain. It's surgical. This has a military precision, the way it's done. I see even military precision in that. This is military intelligence. If I had to put a name on this, you're right that it's been presented as a tool, the tool chain, because it's expand far beyond just a couple of fake accounts online or on social platform. We're talking about a complete construct, a complete organizations, different tools that are put together becomes almost as I said, an intelligence warfare against very targeted individuals and a very targeted agenda. And in this particular case, we're talking about the Palestinian resistance. Anyone that's going to support Palestine in France is going to be targeted, but not nationally, individually, per region, certain town, certain city where this particular movement has a lot of support. And then they're going to hit, obviously, the politicians that matters. And they've done it surgically. And that's coming from outside of France. And that's what this investigation, Black Core, matters. And I think we're going to discover probably something even much bigger and largely that's going to show that this has been done before. And this is probably spreading on a much larger level, probably across Europe, because we've had the election in Romania. We saw how much went down there. Bulgaria. You can see that.
So you can deploy this anywhere in the world from Israel.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Remotely.
It is. Yeah.
To a large degree.
And it doesn't take a lot to do it. You just need to have the right. With AI, they can identify who really pulled the plugs on as far as the resistance, the support for Palestine, who are the key shakers in that particular movement. And instead of doing it nationally, they go after the key shakers regionally, which are still impactful because they're attached to a larger party.
What's interesting is that left-wing parties, especially in Europe, traditional left, or even left to center, they tend to be more sympathetic to the Palestinian cause. So that dovetails with the U.S. agenda, which likes to attack socialist governments, socialist parties all around the world, overseas. And the CIA have been doing that since the end of the Second World War. So that's already a baked-in type of strategy that's already, so then you have the convergence of Israeli and U.S. objectives. And so this becomes that Spectre type plot, from James Bond, where they're literally trying to sanitize and create a uniparty in every country. There's no difference between the two major parties, and that's the model they want. It seems to me like, so Israel's kind of doing tandem work with the U.S. Like they almost have exactly the same agenda.
It's pretty much the same. The idea that most of these agendas are have some kind of, I wouldn't say radical right, but they have pretty far right tendency in the background. It's just not shown. It's more like center right fighting, extreme left. That's how it's been painted in the political debate, if you will. So that fits nicely. That you want to look at it. You probably look at Paz, in Bolivia. You get a good understanding. That's we center right. We're very liberal. We're not hardcore, but these are hardcore people, and they have a hardcore agenda, and they're hiding behind names and sobriquets and whatever acronyms. But at the end of the day, when you allow these kind of things to happen, when money, because this is what it's all about. It's really identifying the financials, the money, the power that has been, funneled into these groups, into this operation, and allowed to be conducted to serve a foreign interest. And if it's happening with Massey in the United States, it's happening here in France, and you can bet your bottom dollar it's happening across Europe, because the format, that tool chain that you're describing is so easy to replicate. It really doesn't take much.
So that article's on our website, Black Core. I don't have the full headline title, but just just do a search for Black Core on the search on 21stcenturywire.com. Freddie, we only got a couple minutes left.
Sure.
This is for the Sunday Wire. We got to hand it back to Hesher and Ruckus and Basil Valentine to do their thing. But just got a couple minutes left. Just briefly, the other story that was a wow that you did, that we now have confirmation that Germany funded Israel's secret nuclear weapons program. Germany paid for the bomb for Israel. It's no longer a mystery. So between the French and the Germans, that's the entire Israel, enabling entire Israel secret nuclear weapons program. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is definitely a revelation that it gets a lot of traction for those that are interested in following, anything that is related to the deployment of nuclear weapons, the propagations of these kind of weapons in the Middle East and anywhere around the world. If you follow that, you have an interest in that, and then that is the right article for you, because we always kind of were under the assumptions that France and a little bit the UK as well and the United States eventually facilitated the development of a nuclear arsenal in the Middle East, and that's really something that German dossier show the hypocrisy. I mean, there's no other word. The level of hypocrisy from Germany being kind of very, guilty that kind of responsibility that they've had on their shoulder after the history and the shared history with the Jewish people. And that's really, for me, is transforming that responsibility into a political agenda that is going to support basically Israel for Israel to obtain and to have the means and the finance to develop a nuclear weapon in the Middle East, a place that had no nuclear weapon, absolutely no reason for it whatsoever. Most of these monarchies there were under the protection, and very quickly under the protection of the United States, the Bush families and so on. So there was no need to introduce nuclear weaponries in that. And I'm not saying France is not guilty. We're as much guilty. We provided at least the core technology for that to happen. But this news that the German governments secretly, with the Heine Gehlen people that we find back, with the CIA, all this kind of, network between Nazi Germany and this entire scientific community, the financial community that is going to finance basically and facilitate the development of that technology.
They hid the funding.
They hid the funding.
Billions in marks.
Yes.
Hidden under all these different development titles, and it was all being channeled to Israel to build the bomb. I mean,
it's crazy.
The guilt
is there.
Has gone too far. It's a disaster. To me, a catastrophe.
It's not embarrassing. It's just it's a disaster, and it's humiliating as well, because we've been always, Germany has always used that kind of are we out there? We have what we've done to the people of, and Jewish people and Israel, not the same people anyways. This amalgamism, the idea of putting everything under one roof is so dangerous. We've done something to the Jewish people, we must help Israel. How do you come to that conclusion? What does it get to do? This is Israel is Israel. It's a state. Right? It's not a religion. It's a state. Right? You must help the Jewish people. Absolutely, help what you've done. Of course, there's a debt, and everything has been paid because it's been paying for a very long time. Even France has been paying. It's not the questions of reparation. at all.
Hitler.
Reparation was due for what was done to these people, but today reparations are due for the Palestinians. Reparations are due for the genocide that has been done on the Palestinians. And then in the middle of this mass,
Lebanese.
and the Lebanese as well. So where are the reparations for these people?
And the Iranians.
And the Iranians today as well. So where are the reparations on that side? And while we're trying to resolve this problem and trying to understand really what's going on here, we have to face the fact that Germany now has been kind of revealing itself as a complete double standards, saying, oh, we have a responsibility, but yes, we did finance actually this nuclear program, which make a huge difference today, because without this nuclear deterrence, Israel will not be able to be so cocky, will not be so arrogant.
The nuclear blackmail.
That is the nuclear blackmail.
Is the term. And Germany has been arming them during the genocide as well. They're one of the leading, second leading arms supplier. During the Gaza genocide is number 1 U.S., number 2 Germany, number 3 Britain, France 4th. It hasn't stopped. The thing is, the flow of munitions, of technology under the cover of names and making it's all defense. It's always about defense, but people die. That's what I like about this entire charade. They're trying to tell us like we are not supporting Israel. We're just helping them to defend themselves. But clearly, I think we all understand this is not about defending anyone here. This is about killing kids and women, and. The receipts are there. And we're still waiting for the result of the investigation from the October 7th to understand really what really happened on that, what really unfolded, what is the truth, because there's so much lies that has been promulgated. So all Germany is not as innocent as everybody thought it was. And as I said, financing is probably the worst, because without financing, there's nothing. You got nothing. The crazy, they hid it as, they disguised it as development loans.
Development
all sorts of things.
Irrigations, technology, and water power plant, or whatever.
They cooked the books.
They they just tell us the story.
But that's an incredible article. I can't pronounce the operation. I couldn't.
Geschäftsfreunds, which is the business friends.
Business friends.
Yeah, that's what we'll say.
Geschäftsfreunds.
Geschäftsfreund,
business friends. Operation Geschäftsfreunds.
I remember because the CEO is Geschäftsführer, and it always amazed me this word.
Amazing.
It's just an incredible story. I know I'm dealing with a lot of stories, so my memory is a bit jaded.
I know. You're working hard, and Freddie, you're doing an amazing public service. I'll say it's not even a job. You're doing a public service, and our readers and everyone appreciates it. And I think we're getting a lot more readers as well joining our 21st Century Wire family because of your work, and that is definitely going to increase over time, and we're seeing that trend going up and up. So we'll look forward to
and this is a demand.
What's
I think
coming.
The most important thing is it's made possible because people want to know the truth. Finally, people are interested. I know we have all these videos and this AI, and it's entertaining and it's fun and all that kind of things, but you will never get that knowledge unless you read. And that's my view on it. And not everybody likes to read, and I understand, some people don't have the time to read a 2,500 article. But at the end of the day, if you really understand what's going on, you need to read and look at the receipts, read into the documents and understand what has been said. Then you can make a real informed decisions about what's true, what's wrong, and what is fake.
Yeah, and it's great to see you. I have to come a long way to talk to you, Freddie. So,
well, I'm glad
but it's I love to be here, and appreciate your work. Freddy Ponton, independent researcher, journalist, features writer, and also our associate editor of global affairs at 21stcenturywire.com. So a lot of this work that we do is based on Freddie's research. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and everybody out there appreciates it as well.
Thank you. Thanks. Great to have you here as well, Patrick, and thanks for making that journey. And this is great. I think we have a lot to look forward to, and I'm glad to be part of that. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and those of you who have supported us on the winter fundraising drive and who subscribe to 21wire.tv, go to our website, hit the donate button up in the left-hand corner, hit donate. A lot of different options to support us, but the one that really is going to make a difference is subscribe and become a member at 21wire.tv. And that's just over $5 a month. And if you do that, it makes a huge difference for us. Collectively, we're able to do much more work journalistically, and we're going to be adding a few strings to the bow with Freddie, and the work that we're doing is going to expand a little bit. So to do that, we need your help. We need your support. We want to do a lot more. We can. We've got the capabilities in terms of the intelligence, but we just need now more resourcing. And we're upgrading all of our sort of computing power and all of that. So that's part of your support, and we really appreciate it. So I'm going to hand it back to our esteemed colleagues at Alternate Current Radio and Sunday Wire, guest hosting, helping us this week, Hesher and Ruckus, Basil Valentine. And we say hi to Hesher and the guys.
Absolutely, guys. Hello. Hope to see you soon.
You're always welcome down here in the south of France. So again, Freddie, thanks very much. Back to you guys.
All right. What's up, Freddie? Thanks for the shout out there. And we do hope to see you in person one of these days soon. I think I want to go where you guys are instead of you guys coming here. That looked like a nice spot. So yeah, if you're new around here and you're not familiar with Freddie, well, now you are. You know, we got to talk about how we get our news. You got to learn about Freddie as a researcher, the kind of things he's interested in. So there's a lot of his material at 21stcenturywire.com. You got a great preview there as to what he's up to. Long-term projects, you know, not a lot of journalists do that kind of thing still. So that's something that we definitely value here at 21st Century Wire. And you know what? I think we are going to move into the Overdrive segment of the show. We've got Basil Valentine and Ruckus inbound here. So we will see you right after this track from the Real Anthem. Do us a favor, give Real Anthem a follow on X. They are at the Real Anthem Band. We'll be right back.
Cover in the dark, secret wars are waged, quiet army sabotage, bloody attention remains, global faces of a crime, a sleight of hand betrays. Something slept inside their hearts as explosions raged. The system breaks as truth increases. The grip on us and the world order ceases. Behind the mask, it's falling to pieces. What comes next? Have they lost all reason? saw it on the internet, and now it's messing with my mind. Don't you ever wonder why there's a line to the sky? They say we're all zombies, lobotomy sheep, addicted to apathy. I am a Kevin. Raining down on you and I. Don't you ever wonder why? There's la 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 la. Get up, stand up, wake up, speak up.
Yeah, that's Phil Zimmerman right there. Lines in the Sky. Had to throw that one in there. And welcome back to Sunday Wire. This is episode 596. Come hell or high water. That's where we're at today. Thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. We are in the Overdrive segment of the show now. That means we're going to bring the Ruckus among us onto the stage here. Adam Clark, aka Ruckus. What's up, man? Welcome to the Sunday Wire.
That's me. Thanks for having me, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to have Basil Valentine hopping in shortly here. So, Basil, feel
He
free.
keeps threatening us with
Yeah,
that.
he's threatening us with a good time. So, we're ready to have one. We think he'll be joining. But yeah, Ruckus. So, let me just put this on the screen real quick here. In New York. Well, this is a post from Alex Colston on X. He says, request for support. 15 U.S. delegates of the global Samud Flotilla will be returning to the United States at JFK Airport on Sunday morning. We're asking people to show up in support, as some participants have been detained for questioning because of the groundless criminalization of the flotilla movement by the State Department and federal authorities. So, you know, they put up a graphic there to encourage people to go, welcome them back as they return home. And I'm seeing this happening all over the place. You know, people returning home to various results.
Yeah. I guess depending on where you live, and just how entangled the Israeli lobby is in your local governments all the way to the top, whoever happens to be the quote unquote leader of your country or whatever it is, state, nation. Yeah, either you're going to be welcomed back with open arms lovingly, or you're going to be welcomed back not so lovingly, say with beatings by police batons and such as you may have seen what took place in Spain, I believe, which was quite shocking. So, yeah, I think in New York, they'll probably be okay, but it's not that long in the very near future, Hesher, where people like that would probably be treated more similar to what's going on in Spain because of the push for these rules and regulations and laws concerning the things that are coming out of people's mouths and the thoughts that are running around in their little brains, which are normally in this particular country protected under the United States Constitution called free speech. But we know that there is a giant push to kind of, nudge that off to the side in lieu of, hey, we got to stop this terrible hate crime speech, anti-Semitism thing. There's a massive push for that, a lot of talk going around. And that's where, because of that, if we had that kind of thing going on, yes, these people returning home would not be welcome as heroes. They would be welcome back as terrorists. And then how much longer before they get treated the way they treat Palestinian terrorists? Because that's what they do with them now, according to Ben Gvir's kind of deal there. Anyways, you get the idea, right, Hesher?
Yeah, I got a real good idea of things today when I was watching some of the footage and reading some of the stuff from people that were
It's like what
there.
it reminds me of. Remember watching like the police brutality videos? Occasionally, you'd see somebody get mistreated or mishandled, or even like a high school fight, and it's like, oh, it's kind of, oh, it's this is like that 100 times over, and throwing a little piece of Satan here and there. It's wild. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's crazy. It's disturbing. This is a position that you may be familiar with if you're following all this stuff, the way these people are treated, the way these humanitarian activists are treated.
This is a yoga pose, right?
Well, let's read about it. This is called a stress position. This is not yoga. Try it on a cold floor with your hands zip tied and see if you can hold it for even 5 minutes. Now imagine being held that way for hours and even days. Stress positions are used in torture to cut off circulation and create extreme pain in the joints. Postures of humiliation are chosen where you cannot see what is happening and you have no chance to remain calm, clear, and alert. Having your kidneys exposed to cold air creates vasoconstriction, high blood pressure, strains the renal system, lowers immunity, and causes acute psychological distress. I think of how many people in the world are being tortured right now as I write. I don't have to say this, but I will. There are very few people who will put themselves aside to help others. There are only a few who would try and even try again to deliver food and medical supplies to Gaza. Both Canada and the US are ratified in the Geneva Conventions against torture. In wartime or in peacetime, torture is not legal. Stop supplying Israel. Stop supporting Israel. Apply sanctions. If we do not stop Israel's use of torture, one thing is clear. We are complicit. We know this. Write your elected officials. And for God's sake, speak up already. Just insane, dude. And I've got videos of like crowds of people being treated this way. Stuck
Do
in.
you have the graphic that's on Patrick's website that I made today
Oh, yeah.
for today?
I believe that I do.
You can pull that up so that people will understand. You see all those people in the background of that picture doing that pose? You should find that picture online, people. There's plenty of them, and there are a lot of these people. And what did these people do again? Remind me, to deserve such torture? Oh, that's right. They had the audacity to attempt to bring food, medicine, and baby formula to Gaza. So, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. I'm going to pull you off stage for a second in hopes that we can see the graphic a little bit better. There you go. You can see the crowd of people in the background there in that stress position. And let's not mince words, being tortured after being kidnapped illegally by the IDF in international waters for what again, Ruckus? Being terrorists? No, bringing food and medicine.
Don't forget baby formula.
Baby formula. Those
That's
evil,
very powerful stuff.
those
you know.
evil people. How dare they bring baby formula to? I don't even want to think about how many babies are left there. It looks like we've got Basil Valentine in the house. Hello, Basil, and welcome to the Sunday Wire. How you doing?
Not bad. Good to see you all. Apologies for the slight delay. Yeah,
No problem.
the flotilla is attempting to do, although the amount of aid they were able to get on board was sort of really symbolic compared to the number of people that are starving and dying of thirst and for want of proper medical care. But the flotilla is doing what the international community is theoretically required to do, which is prevent genocide. You know, they were actually doing what the governments of Britain, France, Italy, Spain, I mean, I know the United States, I'm not sure if it's even a signatory to the Geneva Conventions of 1948, but the rest of us, at least, we're all supposed to be there preventing genocide. But on the contrary, no. We all go along with it because of the Israel exception. Simple as that. So the only thing that's brought any opprobrium from Western governments is this mistreatment of Western activists, detainees. It should be pointed out that other members of the Israeli cabinet, Miri Regev, for example, have been celebrating what was done to the detainees, saying they fully deserve it. Gideon Saar, the foreign minister, realized that it was atrocious PR, and he condemned Ben-Gvir. But, you know, last year a poll showed 47% of all Israelis want to kill everyone, every man, woman and child in Gaza. Nearly half the population of Israel said in a big poll that they wanted to kill everyone. And, you know, the genocidal rhetoric is cheered on in Israel, so we shouldn't be surprised about it. And what it was really with Ben-Gvir mistreating these Western activists was a demonstration of Israeli power. We can do this and we can get away with it, and you can't do anything because we control your governments, we control the press. You know, the activists have been demonized in social media as, you know, do-gooding, ignorant, liberal lefties, unaware of the complexities of the situation. Terrorist supporters is, of course, what they're labeled by the Israelis, generally ridiculed. Extraordinary, really, that you'd ridicule people trying to help starving children. And, for all that the likes of Melanie Phillips have issued, that's the British foreign minister, have issued statements condemning Ben-Gvir, and the French government have sanctioned him personally. The arms exports continue, the favorable trade agreements continue. Yes, ambassadors were summoned and given a bit of a dressing down, but soon, the fish and chip paper of tomorrow, as it were, soon blows past. There's no meaningful change in diplomatic relations. No embassies are shuttered or anything like that. I mean, there've been slightly louder noises from some politicians in Britain, in the House of Commons, Kit Malthouse in particular, condemning what's going on in the West Bank, as well as Gaza, southern Lebanon, where the murders continue. But for their part, of course, the Israelis, Netanyahu, is furious that the peace deal involving Iran might be required to cover Lebanon because they want to carry on murdering and stealing what Haim Brashith, the former IDF soldier, described as the militarized vampire that Israel hasn't had enough yet, certainly not where Lebanon's concerned. But the PR disaster of this interception, this act of piracy on the high seas, is quite major for Israel. It allows us to use stronger language in its condemnation. It allows us to say, look, we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Imagine what they do to Palestinian prisoners behind closed doors. Well, we don't need to imagine. We've been told about the horrific crimes. So that's why the Israelis, other members of the government, and Israel supporters are so angry with Ben-Gvir, not because of the way he treated these activists. They fully deserved it as far as Zionists are concerned, but because he did it in public, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to keep the crimes covered up.
Yeah, and we're hearing a lot of firsthand accounts now that people are returning home from this latest trip. And Basil, not only are we in a situation where genocide and ethnic cleansing are taking place, in just slapping the face of the Geneva Convention and all of humanity, but on top of that, when humanitarians and activists go to try to provide some aid, this is how they're treated. They're literally tortured. This is a torture tactic right here. We don't know how many hours or minutes or overnights people spent in this position, and hopefully most of us don't know how terrible that would feel. Look at this. Look at this on Ruckus's screen right here. The camera lens doesn't even fit all the people that are being tortured.
That's right. And Ben-Gvir was saying, give them to me for a long time. These are terrorists, and I want to be able to lock them up for a long time. Netanyahu, of course, thought better of that. He knows which side his bread is buttered, and couldn't possibly stand a PR disaster like that, like handing out lengthy prison sentences to these Westerners. But that's what Ben Gvir wanted to do, and they also flooded the floor of the containers. There's this really rough-sounding, rusty old container ship that's been repurposed into a prison ship, and the activists were thrown in these shipping containers made to get down on the floor, and the floor was then flooded, and while they were in that stress position with their faces on the floor, which was extremely disconcerting, obviously, because they couldn't catch their breath properly. That Juliette Lamont, the Australian activist, said she thought she was going to drown after being put in that position, and she and others have alleged sexual assault, including at least one case of actual rape. So we wait to find out more details of those.
Yeah, very disturbing. I've got one account I can play for you guys. The audio on it's a little iffy, but it's probably worth playing. But this guy was saying that the IDF was throwing flashbangs into these containers. They were ordering people out of the containers and then shooting them with non-lethal shotgun rounds. And
Right.
he's describing these projectiles that people are getting hit with. And apparently I don't know if they're branded as LAPD or they're the same kind, but like they're somehow related. They're using American, weapons, all right, like riot control weapons and, SWAT weapons, less than lethal weapons, if you will, which can kill people in some cases if they get unlucky enough about their proximity to it or where it impacts them. But I mean, just imagine that being tossed in a container, hands bound, lights off, lights on, water, flashbangs, 12 gauge BB rounds or beanbag rounds, whatever the heck they shoot at them. It just sounded like they were being terrorized and wondering if they were going to survive.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it was a relatively short period of time, I think 3 or 4 days that they were held, taken back to Ashdod and then processed. But it was obvious the Israelis wanted to make those 3 or 4 days as unpleasant as possible. I was very pleased to see that a lot of them have said they're going to go back, and they're going to go back again and again and again. And this particular trip got far more headlines around the world than any of the previous ones because of the mistreatment of these Western activists. So perhaps the next flotilla will get more publicity because that's what these things achieve more than anything else. Do you want to play a clip now, Hesher?
Yeah, I got a clip I think that we should probably watch here. This was posted by Sarah Wilkinson, who's at S Wilkinson BC.
I know
And
Sarah. She's a prominent activist in Britain. She's been harassed by the British police, believe it or not. They raided her home one morning, took away her electronics, and knocked over the urn of her mother's ashes, and didn't seem to care too much about it either, because she said the wrong things on social media and has generally displayed too much sympathy and solidarity with the Palestinian cause. So she's been harassed. And sorry, just to finish off very quickly, as you said, you turn up to welcome the activists back in the United States, you could find yourself blacklisted, no-fly list. If your paperwork isn't in order, you'll be deported. How long before you're rounded up in the United States as dissidents and taken to internment camps?
Some might think that's a rather hyperbolic question, but I will say right here in Texas, not far from where Ruckus and I are broadcasting right now, a man was visited by the police for a social media post about Israel. And also not far from where we are right now, a woman was just arrested for filming the dirty water coming out of her faucet and, making claims about, hey, people are getting sick from this water. And the chief of police in Trinidad, Texas, had her arrested, said she was causing like public fear and lying. And I'm just sitting here going, wait, I turn into like Randy Marsh from South Park. I'm like, I thought this was America. I thought this was Texas. What the hell's going on here?
Dude, she got arrested for causing a ruckus, Hesher.
She did
This
get
is
arrested.
not good.
Yeah. You might want to think about a new handle.
Liberty in America's drowning. It's drowning. Save us, everybody.
We're gonna have to call him Adam.
It's at least 20 years now that people like Alex Jones have been talking about all these internment camps being built. Do you remember that? That was a big story. When are they? They had something planned, didn't they? In the early 2000s.
Yeah, and now it's like people are like, well, any sports stadium, any Walmart, any of these things could turn into a FEMA camp, if you will, there to save you, if you will, at any time. It's just absolutely bananas. So Sarah Wilkinson, back to Sarah here. She says, Marim Hajal from the Global Samud Flotilla describes being sexually assaulted by the Israelis after her kidnap while being struck repeatedly on the head. This is unpleasant, so here you go. But it is what it is.
Sur ce bateau qu'on a baptisé le bateau torture, j'ai été victime de torture. Dès notre arrivée, on nous a dévêtus, on nous a retiré nos vêtements chauds.
Let me just bring that audio down for our audio listeners. She's saying basically that they made everybody strip, put them in a black container. She was subjected to sexual harassment. She says there were 3 soldiers in that container and a comrade lying on the ground with his pants pulled down. They forced her head forward, and then one of them began touching her chest area. She was hit with heavy, deafening slaps to the head. Groping continued. They nicknamed this boat the torture boat. I don't even want to go on. She goes into detail about their clothes being taken away, about being sexually assaulted. I mean, it's just the kind of horror tale that you don't want to wake up and read on a Sunday morning, but this is what we're dealing with. This is what these people are dealing with. This is how people are treated if they're looking for any sort of solution. So, pretty sad state of affairs.
But yeah, I mean, a horrible experience for her, but a Vickers Tea Party, a cruise, frankly, a luxury cruise compared to what they do to the Palestinians.
Yeah. And one of the things that I noticed today on the Global Flotilla X page, let me see if I can find an example of it here. Of course, there are troll comments, all that kind of stuff under the posts that Global Samud Flotilla puts. So, there'll be I'm trying to find a good example of it here. Right here. So like, all right, here's sort of an example I can find. So here comes a Israeli account, probably Gideon Saar.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the Prime Minister. Yeah.
Right. So he goes, "You knowingly caused harm to our state in a disgraceful display, and not for the first time. You have undone tremendous professional and successful efforts made by so many people from blah 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 blah." And then what
possible harm is she doing to Israel? That's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't want to go to Israel. They wanted to go to Gaza to deliver aid. Simple as that. They wanted to bypass Israel completely.
Yeah, they had no need to go there whatsoever. They just wanted to bring food and aid.
Apart from the fact, of course, Israel has destroyed Gaza's only port, which makes landing difficult at Gaza. But.
Yes. Well, remember, Basil, we built them a pier, right, out of like trash and garbage, which is gone now, right? It's floated away.
It had gone within days. It washed away in days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
A pier built from the rubble of houses that have been blown up with bones, mixed in with them.
So here's another example of what I'm trying to point out here. Globalist Samud Flotilla reposts this one from the Israel Foreign Ministry. Israel Foreign Ministry says the flotilla anarchists bring provocation and chaos everywhere. Here they are in Greece, and there's a scene at the airport there. But what is brilliant about their X post is they repost the Israeli foreign minister making that claim, and they say the Zionists are bringing provocation and chaos everywhere. Here in the West Bank, beating a child unconscious while his mother screams for help. Okay, there you go. So it's like Israel makes a claim, and the global Samud flotilla will take the claim and basically copy paste it and show you a really, really wicked example of chaos or whatever the heck they're trying to claim, these activists are bringing.
That's what makes these people dangerous, Hesher. They're telling you, right? It's quite obvious. They're like, well, it's dangerous that you're showing what we're doing, and that defeats what we're doing, which is we're trying to brainwash and propagandize people into believing a narrative that is proven false with your evidence of the truth. So this is why they target, in addition to the doctors and the hospitals and whatnot and infrastructure, they also, what do they like to target? Journalists who are there on the ground reporting. So yeah, this is how they do it,
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Well, it's awful, but what's happening in the West Bank is what's finally sort of got a few MPs in Britain, at least, to speak up. Now, in the United States, of course, the language around the West Bank started changing a few years ago. The likes of the former CIA director, Pompeo, started calling the West Bank Judea and Samaria, So did that overweight, failed Democratic candidate for president. What was his name? The really, really fat one. I've forgotten his name. Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and he wouldn't be considered an extreme Zionist. So Judea and Samaria are the terms used by Zionists for the West Bank as part of their annexation. And I mean, I don't know, you'll have to tell me what official United States State Department policy is these days with respect to the West Bank, and indeed the so-called two-state solution, because that's what has been the can they've been kicking down the road for the last 50, 60, 70 years, or however long it is, the two-state solution, which of course can only come about through negotiations. That's why the United States couldn't recognize a Palestinian state. Anyway, the simple fact is now that Israel's very determinedly making a Palestinian state a physical impossibility on the ground. And that's what has caused one or two MPs in Europe, at least, to pipe up, because Britain recognized the Palestinian state last year, and likewise France and other countries. And yet it's going to be absolutely impossible to bring it about. And the ethnic cleansing, I mean, that term's even been used in the House of Commons last week, continues. So, I thought we were going to come to this impasse anyway. And it's almost as if what Israel has done in Gaza gets a free pass from a lot of these politicians because, well, that was self-defense and there was October the 7th and blah, blah, blah. But the fig leaf that they try and hide behind is that, there'll be a Palestinian state on the West Bank, and that is not going to happen without a radical change in direction and sanctioning individual ministers or some of the extremists in the West Bank ain't going to cut it. So where we go from here, don't ask me, but.
Yeah. I want to talk
it's almost
about.
Like they should have a map so that everyone knows where we go from here. What
Yeah.
would that map look like? I wonder. What would we?
Well, very good, very good. Well, I mean, there was the so-called roadmap. That's what it was called. Do you remember? Was that under Bush too?
I think
that
so.
We had the roadmap. Yeah, that never went anywhere because the only map the Israelis want is the one you just put up there. They're not interested in any other map.
Exactly. Now, some of the people from the flotilla that were headed home traveled from Turkey to Spain, I understand. And things got nasty at that airport there. Um, Basque, Basque, I don't know how to pronounce it. Want to know why Basque police beat Global Samud Flotilla torture survivors? These are the same cops who've taken 1.6 million euros in Israeli security contracts, trained by former Mossad agents, and equipped with Israeli surveillance tech. Now, I'm going to put this on the screen here. Let me back this up. Here we go. All right, I'm going to turn down the screaming here a little bit. We can watch in the background. Tell you what, I'm just going to turn it all the way down, but watch what's going on in the background here. Batons are being deployed against all these people. And why? Well, it looked to me, and I saw someone say this on X. It's always hard to say if you're not there and you're not one of the people experiencing it, but you saw it there in the beginning where one of the flotilla members, it looked like he went to embrace a friend or family member that was waiting for them to return, and the cops just grabbed him. And then the beatdown ensued.
Yeah,
and the
no,
rest of the people jumped in.
Yeah, I've seen on social media Zionists saying, look, this is everybody's condemning Israel, but Spain is just as bad, you know, because these people are so awful, these flotilla activists are such horrible people. Everybody wants to beat them. Everybody wants to hit them with sticks. It's not just us. Why are you demonizing us? The Spanish want to hit them with sticks as well, you know. You know, we don't know why this happened, but we know that people in uniform
I know why.
Have a preponderance towards violence. Go on, Ruckus.
Money. These people are controlled real easy by money, or, you know, there's always the Lolita Express kind of stuff going on too. But I think it's real easy. The most thing is just money. They're bribed and paid off, you know.
You can see the injuries on this guy here. Do you see his back right there, you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the irony is that Spain has been the most vocal critic of Israel in recent weeks and months. Pedro Sanchez hasn't stood for any of their nonsense. You know, this is a border force throwing their weight around for whatever reason. You know, they just like to show people who's in charge. They don't really feel comfortable with spontaneous expressions of joy and happiness. You know, these things are alien to people in uniform with authority and weapons, and that's how they react. They sort of can't
when's
stand.
the last time we saw that happen on a large scale? Oh, that's right, 2020, 2021, during the lockdown kind of stuff. And so do you think this whole anti-Semitism thing might be the next global health emergency that they want to take care of?
Well, they're certainly saying it's a sort of, you know, global emergency. There was a Hungarian Jewish film director at Cannes saying that the West, Europe, is completely eaten up with anti-Semitism, and of course they're saying that in Britain as well. You know, to a sort of hysterical degree, really. But it only seems to be it is only avowedly Zionist Jewish people that claim there's an anti-Semitism crisis. Anti-Zionist Jews aren't bothered at all. And of course, this, you know, how many more times this conflation between the actions of the state of Israel and Jewish communities worldwide is something that Zionists love to push, even though that itself is anti-Semitic, you know, and we go round and round in circles with it. You know, Simple.
Very, again, widths of some of the similar global psyops we experienced during that time, because they like to change definitions and meanings and twist things around and gaslight people. And it's just last time we had, like, dancing TikTok nurses, and this time we get cops beating freedom-loving activists. Yay.
Yeah, Melanie Phillips is a British/Jewish arch Zionist, possibly one of the most extreme, and she's platformed, unfortunately, regularly by the BBC and what have you. She said, amongst other things, recently that any form of Palestinian solidarity is anti-Semitism. Simple as that. Anything at all, any expression of support for Palestinian human rights is anti-Semitism. But she was at a conference in Tel Aviv last week and started saying, there are lots of Jewish people here in Israel and in Europe with experience of psyops, of psychological operations. And this is what we now need to employ. We need more psyops, basically, to combat.
Now, if you told me that they would be openly saying stuff like that, this is crazy.
To combat the rising tide of anti-Semitism, apparently.
We've been saying we need better psyops for a few years over here because these ones aren't working very well. Could you at least give us, something to argue with people about? But no, now we've got people openly saying we need to employ more psyops. What is this? We need to employ psyops. They should be saying we need to employ more psyops. The psyops that we currently have in place are not enough. Guess what? They're not going to be enough. This isn't going to get better with more psychological operations. I don't think so.
No, I mean, the main psychological operation at the moment, of course, absent individual sort of fake acts of terror or things like that. There was the shooting yesterday, wasn't there, outside the White House, just as it seemed the peace deal was coming to a conclusion. I don't know if those two events were linked. The shooter was liquidated, wasn't he? Do you have any more on that?
No, I only did sort of a cursory look at that yesterday, and it looked like it was screaming daily shooter program probably to me, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. But yeah, there was interesting footage. There was a journalist speaking when the shots started going off, and it was interesting watching him try to figure out, what to do. But then they ushered all the journalists off, and I don't know. It looked dodgy to me. I'll look at it a little bit further.
Hesher, Trump said in the aftermath in a Truth Social post, thanks to the Secret Service, yada, yada. This is why we got to build the ballroom again. Yeah. He went on with that kind of narrative.
Yeah, because Trump would have been in the ballroom at like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday or whatever that was. Yeah, ridiculous. It's just like that mandate, that's the thing. It's like you see a daily shooter program event and all of a sudden there's legislation or some sort of mandate that comes after it. It's like, okay, that's one of your giant red flags that, hey, everything is probably not above board on this.
Well, now you get to add to your taxonomy. It might not just be that. It might also be like a promotion, like a commercial for some new piece of technology or underground bunker beneath a new ballroom.
Right. Well, the story is they're building a extensive medical facility down there.
Of course, they care and they want to
so ill.
People. Yeah.
Maybe they're going to keep all the presidential heads down there in perpetuity so they can start bringing them back later on, like Jurassic Park.
In jars, like that show Futurama?
Like Idi Amin apparently had a fridge containing the heads of his political enemies. And if you went to see him, to, his senior staff or whatever, he'd say, do you want a drink or something cold from the fridge? He'd open this fridge and they'd see the heads in there, and that was a warning. That was a way of Armin saying you better watch your step.
No thanks, I don't want the drink. Yeah. Okay, so just because we mentioned it, real quick receipt here. U.S. Gaza pier to close after costing $230 million for a day's worth of aid. So,
I mean, yeah.
And that was 2024, so that's an older article there.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a Biden blunder.
Yeah. One of the
Was that a
Biden-
psyop? Was that just a media stunt? Because it sure seemed that way.
At the time, people were very animated about the situation and the fact that people were starving, and it was a PR stunt to say, look, we're going to do something here. Look, we're not all bad. Look, we're going to build a pier so we can deliver aid. And it was a useful talking point for a week or two. That's
what was
about the
Trump's
size of it,
thoughts about that at that time? Do you remember? Because just going on a whim here, he was probably like, see, Biden sucks. If it was me, I would have built the most beautiful pier. I would have gotten them the most food and aid ever. Or probably not, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
I
So
believe actually around that time, because I was doing news reportings and stuff, that Trump was saying things like he was telling, at that time when it was Biden and all of that stuff was first going around, he was advising Bibi, hey, look, bro, you shouldn't be doing all this stuff so much on camera. You got to keep it on the DL. That was his advice to Bibi.
Right.
It makes you look bad. And I'm like, and that's basically the discussion we're having now, right? It's them being shown to be bad by their actions, but because the camera's on them, now it's like, well, you're anti-Semitic for having the camera on them. So there you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like they play a game of heads or tails, except the outcome is heads I win, tails you lose.
That's
There's
right.
There's always
Wait
the
a
out.
minute.
There's always the built-in little psychological lines. It's wearing thin, though. It is wearing very, very, very
Well, obviously,
thin.
the Massey situation has hopefully woken a few more people up.
Yeah.
Last week, because a hugely popular congressman, the leading advocate for the full disclosure of the contents of the Epstein files, and a genuine American firster, doesn't want to send billions of dollars so that Israel can murder even more people, and effectively a paper candidate in Ed Gallerine, who ran a Joe Biden type bunker campaign, couldn't get a dozen people to a public meeting, yet increased the vote against Massey by 350%. Now, in spite of the fact that Miriam Adelson and her gang spent $30 million on buying ads to attack Massey,
Biggest
the
war
numbers
chest
simply
in
don't add up. The
biggest
most
war chest
expensive
in
congressional
American
race in
history.
history. Yeah. And the numbers simply don't add up. I mean, the increase, Massey's vote increased. He got another 25,000 votes or something, and yet this challenger came from the previous round. Two people had stood against Massey in the primary and got 6,000 each, and then this bloke suddenly was catapulted, to a 10,000 majority, including 10,000 mail-in ballots. So the whole thing absolutely stinks from start to finish. But hopefully, more Americans will realize that they don't live in a democracy.
No, that is not representation right there, what you just described. Not at all. Not at all. And the margin was not that big between his loss. It was like high 40s to low 50s or something like that. It wasn't all that big. And the other thing, I would be remiss if I did not mention how much energy the Trumposphere put into telling the public, hey, they're stealing elections. They're doing shady stuff with elections. They stole this election from me, right? They stole it from me. But here they go, employing those same, this is the GOP employing a leftist tactic, but it's really not a leftist tactic, is it? Because we've seen it over and over and over again from both sides. And, this just goes to show money talks and bullshit talks too. Sorry for the swear jar there, but their BS definitely flies. So check this out. Here's the headline. Pro-Israel commentator warns critics face buzzsaw of Jewish money after Massey defeat. This guy, leading neocon commentator and staunch defender of Israel, one John Podhortes, has turned the defeat of U.S. Representative Thomas Massie into a warning to every candidate who challenges the pro-Israel lobby, declaring that, quote unquote, Jewish money should be used openly to force such politicians through a political buzzsaw.
But of course, if you say that, you're an anti-Semite. That's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Yeah. If it is voiced by either an anti-Zionist Jewish person or any kind of Gentile, and you should be cancelled and deplatformed for spreading this kind of conspiracy theory. But he's allowed to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think I have a clip of him here. Let's see if we can hear it. Bring this up and unmute it.
Is a good thing if Massie and the people like him and others believe that if you cross the line into anti-Semitism, Jews are going to use the power that we have openly to go for you. Because what other recourse is there? Are we just going to sit here and take it, beg for scraps, hope that nice people are nice to us? The Democratic Party is going explicitly anti-Semitic. We can see it happening. People are getting benefits, as Seth says, for being anti-Semites. That seems to be part of an appeal in primaries to the left and the party. We have to use what means there are at our disposal. And in my view, and I'm going to put it blank, that is Jewish money. There is an enormous amount of Jewish money in politics, by which I mean Jewish donors, wildly disproportionate, not only charitably, but politically. When I say charitably, I mean nobody really knows the numbers. Jews make up 2% of the population. According to some studies, Jews make up 20% of the charitable contributions made in the United States annually. That is a tenfold. Think about that. Think about the disproportion.
All right, I got to take him off the screen. I can't take any more of that. But I mean, he just laid out, flat out, the tactics that Adam and Basil were just talking about.
Well, he used the J word as well. I mean, really openly saying this is not Zionist, Jewish money, that there's a lot of Jewish money in politics. Well, that's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. That's a trope, isn't it? Saying that,
we wouldn't be allowed to say that without backlash.
You wouldn't be allowed to say that. And of course, the anti-Semitism that he refers to, whether Massie or the Democratic Party, is not wanting to go along with the diktats, policies and actions of the most extremely violent, murderous regime in Tel Aviv since the founding of the State of Israel. Simple as that. I mean, that's a point that the British journalist on Double Down News, Richard Sanders, made. You've got Ben Gvir, Smotrich, Miri Regev, for that matter, Gideon Saar. They're all of the same mind, and it is the most ultra-violent, extreme Zionist administration there's ever been in Israel. It won't change if Netanyahu goes at the end of the year. It won't make any difference at all. And if you don't go along with that, you're an anti-Semite. That's his definition of anti-Semitism. You either go along lock, stock and barrel with the extermination, the ethnic cleansing, the apartheid. I mean, that seems relatively minor nowadays, doesn't it? Apartheid, goodness me. Let's get back to those days, but as opposed to just exterminating everybody. But unless you go along with all that, you're an anti-Semite. That's the definition of anti-Semitism he's using there.
So you have
to just describe all, the Democratic Party is going explicitly anti-Semitic. I mean, it's like, what? Where do you get this?
What is that? Like, is that just a bad take by him, or is there actually, like, amongst the political Zionists out there, have they chosen a team for any longer period of time now? Like, I know our teams are fake here, the whole, two wings of one bird and all that stuff, but does it benefit them? Like, they're getting so much from the Trump administration, like, more than they've ever gotten from any other administration, probably. So is that the thing? Is that why they're trying to curate the GOP so hard, because they're going to stick with the GOP?
Well,
I wonder.
they're going to have to, although the Democratic Party are bending over backwards to continue to accommodate the likes of John Podhoretz. They published the autopsy last week on the 2024 defeat and completely expunged all reference to Gaza. I mean, it's like the level of gaslighting is absolutely off the charts.
Yeah.
You know, but
Right.
that isn't good enough for John Podhoretz, obviously, you know.
No. Well, I mean, and then there's
It almost seems intentional to just let everybody fracture over this, to be honest.
That's the other thing. Like, on the one hand is sort of that question I just asked, where it's like, okay, are they GOP now? Is that where all the political Zionism money is going to go? Or is this just another moment in time, another flash? It's all window dressing. I mean, look at the Biden administration. They gave some lip service, right, to people that were supporting the Palestinians, but that's it. They'd give a little bit of lip service, like like Kamala would say something lip servicey, hey, you got to take it easy, guys, that kind of thing. But then then our government would write a huge check and send a whole batch of bombs and LAPD, less than lethal rounds.
Yeah, the window dressing was slightly more elaborate with the Democrats, at least, try to do a bit. I mean, but who can forget that vampire-esque figure, that Dracula Miller, wasn't it? The spokesperson at the State Department. Absolutely horrendous character, and the endless excusing of war crimes that went on throughout the Biden administration. There was no meaningful change. But, the Democrats have got some huge Zionist donors and very, very powerful Zionist interests. You've got Chuck Schumer there, obviously, still a minority leader in the Senate, and mega donors like Haim Saban and, the whole sort of Jewish Hollywood brigade like to still stick with the Democrats because they like the Democrats on other subjects like immigration and, the transgender bathrooms or whatever else they want to push. So the Democratic Party is in for a huge, internecine civil war over the next, over the coming months of years. And that the sanitization of the DNC autopsy into 2024 is just the start. They're trying to kill off critics of Israel. There's an important race up in Michigan, isn't there, where it looks as if the anti-Zionist candidate might well win now and would then be heavily favored to win in the general election. But every single time there's a seat, as Freddie was pointing out there in the south of France, every time there's a seat anywhere, it's the same in Britain as well, with Green Party candidates who've said things in the past about Israel and social media being attacked. Any candidate, anywhere, I don't think they're so bothered about the Congo or places like that, but certainly in Europe or the United States is going to find themselves viciously attacked if they're deemed not to toe the line on the Middle East. I mean, there was a Green Party candidate for the upcoming by-election. It's a woman, a portrait artist. She was the original front runner, believed to be the selection. She then disappeared quickly after a social media post where she had said that Israel is ruining the world. That it would appear, I don't have the minutes of the meetings at the Green Party in Makerfield, but that it would appear disqualified her from standing as a candidate because she said she thought Israel is ruining the world. Now, I mean, it may or may not be, but I think in the light of what we've seen over the last few years, it's a perfectly reasonable position to hold. We can have a debate about it. That's what democracies are for, to debate these kind of things. But, why somebody should be barred from standing because they hold that opinion, that seems perverse to me.
Yeah. And to know that this has trickled down into the most local levels of American politics and even American business. I mean, we have legislation in like, I think 38 states, 30 plus states that will not allow you to do business, will not allow you to, you know what I mean? You have to sign an agreement basically
That's
saying that
right.
you won't, engage in any sort of, whatever,
Boycott, divestment,
boycott.
or sanctions. Yeah,
Yeah, all that
yeah.
stuff.
The
It's nuts.
anti-boycott laws.
Just to do
Yeah.
business in your local town in America, you have to basically sign allegiance to a foreign country. I mean, that makes zero sense,
Or just to come shop here at this store, you have to wear a face mask. In order to work for this company, you need to be boosted.
right?
Oh, hey, man, there's all those weird whiffs and echoes again.
Random attributes, random societal, political, and medical attributes that one must have to remain untargeted.
Photon belt, take the knee. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, you got to take the knee. Oh, and just a side note here, that John Podertz guy, he's the son of Norman Podertz, huge neocon. So a lot of these people that we see speaking this way are actually like Nepo babies running around in politics, just repeating the lines of their parents from 40 years ago or something.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
How do we know
Shocking.
they're not just exact clones of these people and not really their children?
Right? They're like, they got a little bit of Epstein DNA in them.
Like Trump, look at his son Barron Trump, and then look at pictures of Donald Trump, and it's like, man, Barron Trump is Donald Trump, but only if it was a clone of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump said, "Make me taller. I want to be taller."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. Did you guys see an Orishnik ballistic missile was deployed? I believe this is the third time ever that it's happened.
That's one of those hypersonic missiles, right?
It sure is, and they're
And
capable.
I did not see it. Apparently, no one can see it because it moves too fast, right?
They come in hot, that's for sure, and they're capable of carrying all kinds of different warheads, to include the scariest of them all. But
Right.
I did find some footage here. Let's take a quick look at it. So that's the aftermath. Russia's defense ministry confirmed the use of the Orishnik, which is capable of carrying nuclear warheads. The attack is only the third time the weapon has been used in the conflict.
Wow.
Vladimir Zelensky said the attack hit a water supply facility and a market, as well as damaging residential buildings and
They
schools.
saw this museum. They attacked this exactly to the museum. Just crazy assholes. That.
Oh, he swapped the fatigues for a black shirt.
Yeah, he's got the black polo shirt. I guess that's his on the street look, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, according to Russia, they say they carried out successful attacks on Ukrainian command facilities, air bases, and other military enterprises. But, the comedian says, no, it was a school and stuff. But I couldn't help but notice that this happened right after a drone attack hit a Russian, I think it was a school. Definitely a lot of people injured. Sounded like kids, too.
So Zelensky better not be hiding command centers inside of hospitals and schools, because that would make him like Hamas or something, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be, yeah. Well, we wouldn't want to draw that connection, would we? That might be antiseptic.
Time to sue for peace, isn't it, Vladimir? Do you know what I mean? Time to bring the curtain down on the whole sorry affair,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, so what a crazy week. We had another shooter event. Where was that? In San Diego.
Oh yeah, the mosque shooting, which Laura Loomer justified, didn't she? She said these people they want to kill us all, so best kill a few of them first. I mean, unbelievable stuff.
That one had many hallmarks also of a dodgy event. So gonna have to do some research over the next week or so on those two. If we don't get two more in the meantime, it's just like they just keep stacking and stacking on us. Absolutely amazing. Well, I think that's about all I've got today. Adam, is there anything else you want to throw in here?
Speaking of stacking bodies, metaphorically speaking, the number keeps increasing of the folks who are leaving the administration over what you were just discussing with the Massey kind of. So again, we had another person who was allegedly, they're like pushing back against what they're not buying what Trump's selling. So you got to go, sweetheart. So we're losing Rogue, the White Street one, the Cruella DeVille, Tulsi Gabbard, director.
Yeah, she's gone, as
of
is rather
National
sad,
Intelligence.
but she claimed it was to look after her husband who's ailing.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
there's
the
already some
official-
reports coming out, Basil. Buyer beware, do your own research. I haven't dug far enough yet, but there's quite a number of reports coming out already that suggests that she was told to step down from the administration and that the husband is a cover story.
Surprise, surprise. Right.
Yeah.
She
Right.
was-
So
I
again,
mean,
this
but
just
she-
comes
but
in the
she's-
wake of, like Hesher, I sent you, I don't know if you have it handy, but there's somebody on X, people are collating all the lists of people who have been like Zionism, anti-war, against anything that Trump's been doing or saying. And it's just this long list of people that he's like, vominous, it's like, it's getting wild.
So, in other words, I mean, we all saw how neocon and ultra-Zionist his initial picks were, but there were a few independent thinkers, shall we say,
outliers.
Joe outliers, Joe Kent, obviously, and Tulsi
He's
to a
on the
lesser
list.
extent. But Tulsi went along with everything, didn't she? She towed the line. The stories, of course, that she had more of the Epstein files on her desk, which she wanted to release, and the FBI came in and said, "Oh no, you don't. We're going to destroy those instead." That could be related to her departure. It wouldn't surprise me. Oh, and who have they got lined up to replace her? It's an ultra-Zionist, isn't it? Elise Stefanik, is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we
ultra-Zionist.
keep seeing this pattern. Yeah. Who keeps being the one who's replacing them? Yeah. Wow. How about that? Usually a lot of folks and I've seen this in a lot of these and folks who have left since the new second term of Trump or whatever, they're replaced by people who are far more on the extreme side and or would probably not be like when he was running for presidency. If he had said, yeah, I'm gonna put these types of people into my cabinet, people would probably be like, well, hold on now, let me think about this. So what does it matter? So he's like, oh, I'm gonna put in these awesome people here and these people and do great things. And you saw what happened with Bobby Kennedy, and everybody just 180s and turns into these loyalists to Trump. And if they're not just quite loyal enough for his tastes, in come the ultra Zios, ultra loyalists, the buddies, the golf course partners.
Well, only
business
ultra
people.
loyalists over the last couple of years, they were the never Trumpers. Remember in the first term when he was talking about being even-handed between Israel and the Palestinians, and said
There
to
were
a big
signs.
Jewish meeting that you can't buy me. Do you remember he said that? And the howls that came afterwards. My God,
Yep.
my God.
Bait and switch. I like this because a lot of people, if there's any MAGA people left in the world, they always think it's cool when Trump fires someone, right? But I really feel like a lot of his firings are exactly that. It's a bait and switch. You're just swapping out the marketable personality for the one that's going to perform, for dance to the tune of political Zionism.
That's right. Yes. So, Tulsi, do you think she'll make a comeback at some point, Tulsi? Do you think she'll run in a couple of years' time, or?
I don't know if she could ever run. Maybe, who knows? She probably thinks she has some political, cachet, and maybe she does. I sure hope not, though, because she's just been so disappointing. She's already an ultra Zionist, and
Maybe there'll be a kiss and tell book.
yeah, right. She could flip again, she flipped before.
Yeah.
So we know that's one
Yeah.
thing we know about her. She's willing to change her viewpoint on the most fundamental, political issues.
I'm going to pay attention to which media outlet she attaches herself to and gets a brand new podcast or show,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe she'll go to Ben Shapiro's channel or something.
Oh,
I doubt that. That's dying on its feet, isn't it? The Daily Wire
It is.
laying people off.
it's
Trump,
not
of
called the
course-
Daily Wire anymore, is it? Didn't he change the name of it?
Oh, did he rebrand it? I don't know.
Very
Or am
possibly.
I thinking of something else? Oh, I'm thinking,
Trump,
yeah.
of course, is going to run in 2028 for Prime Minister of Israel. We saw that this week. I'm at 99% in Israel. I'm like 99. It's great. They love me. So when I finished here, I could be prime minister over there. He actually said it. I mean, like, what?
Oh my gosh.
The States saying, I mean, you know, with him, he's never entirely joking when he says things like that. It's,
right.
You know, he doesn't know how to be genuinely tongue in cheek. You know.
Yeah.
There's no.
I would not be. I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past the Israelis to adopt him. Do you know what I mean? For him to go, apart from the fact he may be physically incapable of either. You know, he may be very obviously suffering from dementia or have a major health incident, but it wouldn't. You know, these days. Yeah. Anything is possible. Anything can happen and probably will.
Yeah, Trump, it's on his Truth Social. I'm looking at it right now. He said, I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister. So maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had poll this morning. I'm at 99%. Okay.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. What an extraordinary phenomenon he has been. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one wonders if he hadn't run in 2016, who would be president now? Where would we be? Do you know what I mean? Would Marco Rubio have been shoehorned in by the Zionists or something? You know?
Yeah.
You've been healed in. Boom, boom. Get it?
Yes.
Michelle Obama.
Oh gosh. Oh, I don't like
we've got, you know.
Yeah. I can only, I don't even want to imagine the political horror show that we have coming in the midterm, in the upcoming presidential election, all elections from here henceforth. It's going to be wild. It's definitely going to just be like, what? Okay. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the GOP in the midterms, because I remember last time we had a midterms, it was supposed to be this bloody red wave and all this, and that totally fell on its face, and it required like a Daily Shooter event with a bullet to the ear to flip all that around on its head. And
if you oppose endless wars, you're an anti-Semite, and you're going to face a buzzsaw of Jewish money. Wait, that's right. That's a trope.
Yes. Yep. And that's a quote from John Podert. Okay, so we didn't say it. We're simply reporting what they're saying. And wow.
Oh, well, you see, that can be anti-Semitic. You see,
right?
You know,
like is he self-hating when he says that, or is he just showboating that he can say it and no one else can?
Well, it's a bit like, you know, black people are allowed to say the N-word and white people aren't, and we've all kind of accepted that. And Jewish people are allowed to talk about Jewish power, and Gentiles aren't. It's simple. Have I missed something? Please explain.
No, the only thing you missed was that pesky First Amendment that we have here, but you know,
They're working on taking care of that. That's been a problem.
They are working on taking care of that. They really are working on taking care of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, Hesher, you know what they got to take care of first. Number 2.
Oh, yeah. That's right. There's a reason why our amendments 1 and 2 are placed in that order. But, you know, this country's been working on both of those for generations now. They are not what they were. All right, you guys, we're about ready to shut the show down here. I think we've had a good run today. Basil, do you have any saved rounds or final thoughts for the show today?
Not really, but I'll be back with Patrick on. I'm envious of him being down there on the Côte d'Azur with Freddie. I must admit, absolutely sweltering here in southern England, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. 35 Celsius or something tomorrow, and I'll be back on UK Column on Friday at 1 p.m.
All right, excellent. So everybody tune in to UK Column, catch Basil
1 p.m.
Patrick.
UK time, so that's 8 a.m. on the East Coast. Watchable.
Very much so. Watch it with your morning tea. All right, Basil.
That's
Thanks
right.
so much.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Baz.
All right, we'll see you next time. There goes Basil. Ruckus, how about you, man? Anything we forgot or final words?
Yeah, it's a holiday here in America.
That's right.
America.
The pools all opened up this weekend. People are out having a good time, enjoying the holiday.
So, what is this one? This one's Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
It's Memorial Day weekend. So, well, we know how that's going at the White House and who's in charge of their barbecue. One Marco Rubio. I love these little memes that people do. I don't even remember how this started, but I can't get enough of them. So I encourage this. It seems every time there's a job opening in the administration, somebody's got to make like a meme that's like, yep, Marco Rubio's got to take over. So I got a kick out of that. But yeah, sincerely, happy Memorial Day to everybody. Of course, make sure you check out us over at alternatecurrentradio.com. But I would draw your attention to what I've been doing is I've been putting my appearances on Weaponized News, as well as other programs. You'll find it there in the bucket Roundabout Ruckus. This is the most recent one. So in case you're on the fence about whether or not you want to watch it, I put a nice little teaser summary for you. If you read that and you're like, man, that sounds fun, go ahead and click the play button, or you can go watch it on X or YouTube. Okay. Of course, all of that fun stuff is found at alternatecurrentradio.com. You all know that. That's where you find the Boiler Room, Sunday Wire, all that fun stuff. Mystical America Patriot Society, the Up Man Out podcast. So do the thing. Make sure you go check it out after you've, of course, checked out and done all the things at 21st Century Wire's website, you know. Thanks again for having me, Hesher. Bill Cooper, quote, coming your way. Read everything, listen to everybody. Don't believe anything unless you prove it for yourself using your own research. God bless you all.
All right. Thanks, Ruckus. Appreciate you, man. Love the graphics today. Thanks for everything you do at ACR and 21 Wire. There goes Ruckus. And yeah, we got a new Boiler Room up. We did a Boiler Room on Friday night. So go to Alternate Current Radio to check it out. I'll put it on the screen for you. A little teaser here. It's called The Synthetic Age, Reality Rendered in Real Time. So we're up there, you know, on the Rumbles, on the YouTubes, on the X. I'm at Hesher Media on X. So get on over there and check out the show. We had a pretty epic show. We had our colleague, Hervore Moritz, join us from Geopolitics and Empire, myself, Ruckus, Mystical Pharaoh. So that is up at the website. And we need your support here at the Sunday Wire and at 21stcenturywire.com. You can find those support links on the page. Just look up in the main menu up there. We really appreciate all the support from this year's winter fundraising drive. And as you can see, Patrick is on the road now, out doing some journalism, and we're holding it down over here. So your support allows these kind of things to happen and keeps the show going. So we will see you again next week. Hopefully Patrick will be back in the seat, but if he's not, you know what? We'll be all right, because Ruckus, myself, Basil will be here to hold the ship down for you, Patrick, if you need. Otherwise, we'll see you next weekend. Don't forget, we need your support at Alternate Current Radio as well. You can find all those links at alternatecurrentradio.com. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Have a safe Memorial Day weekend. Shouts out to everybody coming home from the Flotilla, and, you know, we'll see you next week.
Show of secret talks, a cold ceiling, serpent calls, buildings burn, masking riot shots. It's TV terror, watch the will of God. Hey, here we are. Heaven come down. Here we are. Culture coast consuming all our complications. We'll soon see.